happy holidays to you. It is good to be here, to be in purpose, and being able to serve you guys once again. In today's video, we are going to be talking about what I feel the dismissive avoidant worst rejection wound is. And the reason I want to talk about this is because so many people take it personal at the end of relationships. And I mean, I just got off the call with another lady. We're talking about how someone feel when they feel rejected, it causes them to do a whole bunch of erratic things. I've seen this over the year. It's been a pretty insightful 2025. I learned a lot about other people's attachment style even more, and I've also learned my own attachment wounds. And how I have navigated those and help other people navigate it. I appreciate you. Where you guys coming from? Before I get into it, where you guys coming from? Legend, that's so cool, man. Appreciate you. Merry Christmas to you also. I think this can be something that is liberating and something that can Kuwait and something that can help someone find Kuwait, Barcelona. Wow. Cedar Hill. I know who you are. That's funny. It's me outside of Cedar Hill. It's good to see you again. So soon. Anyway, right. So, how do we stop taking things personal at the end of relationships? I know usually when someone finds my channel, they dive deep into what an ex is thinking, how to get an ex back, what is a person's attachment style, and then you end up finding me, and you end up finding that there's this thing called attachment theory and dismissive avoidance, fearful avoidance, and so many different, kind of personality, not personality disorders, attachment styles that you didn't know about. And one of the things that can often lead to a dismissive avoidant in particular to wanting to break it off with you and feeling like this just isn't a relationship for them. I'm gonna get to it right away. And it is being seen and then no longer being needed. You guys have to understand that when it comes to insecure attachment styles, what is the key word in that? It's insecure. Understanding what those insecurities are is probably one of the most important things that you can figure out about yourself, about the person that you're in a relationship with. Because once you understand, there's this book called Wired for Love, right? And the person who wrote that book was Stan Tatkin. In the first couple chapters, he has something called the couple bubble. And in order for you to get into that couple bubble, in order to make that thing run smoothly inside that couple bubble, he gave the analogy of like when you go to the store, everything comes with the owner's manual, no matter how big or small, right? Whatever you buy, it can be a phone charger. It's going to come with some type of instruction manual. Like if something happens, do this. If you have an issue, call in for the warranty. When you understand attachment theory, then you understand what your partner, how your partner's wired. That's when you can, kind of iron out the kinks. One of the biggest wounds for the dismissive avoidant is being seen, heard, and then no longer being needed. One of their top love languages is acts of service, which means even if they can't communicate to you how they're feeling or what they're feeling, they'll still do things for you to show that they care about you. But what happens when you say, "Nope, we're done. I no longer." This is why it struck people who are have more of a fearful avoidant attachment or even an anxious attachment when they start to protest and they like show the person like, nope, I'm not letting you do this anymore for me. I don't need you for this or that anymore. That hurts them deeply because they have that insecurity, right? They have that insecurity of not being needed, feeling like they're worthy to be in a relationship. So when you reject them and you say, I no longer need you for anything, I don't even need you to like hang my shelf on my wall anymore, that hurts them deeply. And they start to wonder, well, why am I so broken? Where the only thing I can bring to this relationship was to like help this person. And then they cut it off on with me. So now what is my worth? What is my purpose now? Right? Let me know if you guys feel like this makes sense. It makes sense to me. because I've talked to people and they tell me, you know, this is why a lot of people say go no contact with them, and it's kind of gamey, right? If you look at all the content out there, it can be extremely gamey. But I understand why people tell you to go no contact. I personally believe no contact should be called a self discovery rule because you should really be trying to understand who you are and what makes you tick when you're not in communication with that person. And like a person I had a call with today, it's good to see you, by the way. Um, it gives you more clarity. The further you get away from that person, the further you get away from um, having to be, you know, when you when you when you're in contact with them, it kind of confuses you, right? It makes you uh, more calmer to be in contact with them because you're not allowing your nervous system to go into that fight or flight or that withdrawal. I was talking to someone today about breadcrumbing, you know, and how I feel breadcrumbing is even more damaging than just going straight no contact because it leaves you in this state of limerence. I call it relationship loitering. They're just kind of standing around outside the building, won't allow you to get into another relationship, but then they don't want to come in and buy from you either. So you're like, what's happening here? Like stop loitering. So let me answer this. Let me answer this. He looked wounded as he was packing up, but he's the one that chose to leave way back. So I didn't understand. Yeah, they feel part of the, okay, so I don't want to give your personal information away, but I can tell you that this was one of the relationships where he felt like he was needed in that relationship because of the living circumstances and everything else. Someone who's more avoidant, they feel like if I can bring value to this person's life, that means that I'm actually good in relationships. But what happened when you say, I don't need you to do anything for me. I don't want you around. I don't need your money. I don't need your help. I don't need you to cut the grass. That cuts them deep because then they're like, now what is my purpose? Now how do I even what value do I have to bring to another relationship? That makes sense. If you guys are in here, you know I keep these lives short. I'm not going to waste 2 hours of your time. Let me know what you are going through right now, how I can help you, if I can help you. I mean, I'll try to. If you're watching this on replay, go back. I talk about what I feel the biggest rejection is for a dismissive avoidant. Um, all their life, you know, they've been wanting to be seen, heard, and understood. Right? The dismissive avoidant really feels like an outcast. They feel as if no one understands them. And honestly, I'm just going to put this out there. I'm put this on the books for you. I I've seen a lot of crossover with someone who is more severe dismissive avoidant with potentially being on the spectrum. I've seen it happen. Like I don't diagnose. I'm just going to like I said, I don't diagnose. I'm just going to put that out there. It's not what I do, but I have seen patterns where someone can be more on that spectrum but have a lot of avoidant tendencies. So look, Google that. I want you guys to do your homework. Don't just take my word for it. I've been doing this for almost a decade now, but I've seen that crossover before, and it's confusing. But there's little nuances when they're on the spectrum. Like you'll see little nuances that seem kind of odd. You know, they're like little personality differences that you'll pick up on also. But when it comes to relationships, they really struggle to have the interpersonal relationship, right? Super no contact. Chicago. Good to see you, Debbie from Chicago. When we went down. Any other questions you guys have while I'm here? Because I'm gonna end it pretty soon. Like I said, I just like to jump on here and just answer these questions from you guys as much as I can. If you're in a situation where you're trying to use like what is the dismissive avoidance biggest wound to get back at them, I would say don't just take the higher route. You know, if anything, at the end of the day, have envy. You know, have sympathy for the person that has may have an insecure attachment style because um, I mean, if you think about the cluster of insecure attachment, it's anxious attachment, it's fearful avoidant, and it's dismissive avoidant. So if anything, it's like a mirror. You know, you should be putting a mirror up and saying, what is it about that isn't healed in them that in me that I see in them, you know? And this is kind of where that, you know, if I'm being honest, that where that trauma bond comes into play, where it's like that, like we both have these holes in our personality, and I see your hole, you see mine, but at the same time, I worked with at-risk youth for a long time. And one of the things that I would see is I had a males mentoring group, and then there was this females mentoring group. And for some reason, they always ended up together somehow. I'm like, what's happening with this? You guys both know you're in. We're here to try to solve different issues, right? But they end up finding like this assimilation with each other. Like they feel like, all right, we're both sort of these only out. We're viewed as outcasts, so maybe we should just try to be together. You know, and it doesn't really, unless you do some healing, it's it becomes very tumultuous. How effective is no contact on dismissive avoidance in reality? Well, it works in reality, and I'm gonna tell you why. First, you give them exactly what they want. If they say they want to break up, okay, I respect that, and they'll feel relief. Initially, they'll feel that relief, but after a while, Christmas time starts rolling around. Facebook memories popping up, some Snapchat memories popping up, things that happened last Christmas, last New Year, and they can't ignore that anymore. It starts to make them reminisce, ruminate, and because they're the ones who struggle the most with the Phantom X phenomenon, you guys aren't familiar with that. It's when you the further you get away from the relationship, the more you kind of pedestalize that person as being the one that you should have, the one that got away, essentially. So it is effective. Um, I think it's more effective for anxious attachers because it allows for you to self-regulate and bring your nervous system back to homeostasis and not be in this triggered state. I think it's more beneficial for anxious people. Um, if a DA male writes you poems, does it mean he'll come back? That for me, I feel is it's breadcrumby, and I tell people to really ignore the breadcrumbs because it's just going to keep you stuck for a while. Take it as like, all right, he's having this fleeting moment where he feels like he needs to get this out. Great, okay, exercise that, but no, thank you. Until you come back with an actual game plan on how we're going to heal and repair this, then there's really no need for any of that. Like if that's your healing process, you need to write poems and all that. By all means, do what you need to do, but don't take it as, oh, this person is like pining for me and still want to get back together, because that may not be the case. And I've coached people who I have weekly and bi-weekly calls, and they're still stuck in this status quo. And it's had just a little bit of a dopamine release from, you know, the conversation or the thing that the person posted on their Instagram story, but it never turned into anything that was substantial, you know. So take it for what it is. I mean, maybe you might want to throw a little jab back, like, "Oh, nice poem. I like that. Was that about me?" Okay, so he writes you poems. Okay, nice poem. What does this mean? If someone does that and they're dismissive, what does that mean? Does this mean we have a future? Then if it doesn't, then I don't really understand why this is even happening right now. So hopefully I broke it down good enough for you. Appreciate you. From Kuwait, right? Appreciate you. Isn't this cool? YouTube is so cool. You can talk to people all across the world. I mean, I talk to people from, I mean, this week alone was nuts. Tokyo, Africa, London. In, this is actually a pretty cool profession. I'm like super blessed. Kuwait, I'm super blessed. I can be able to talk to you guys and kind of navigate you out of some of the darkest times in your life. And honestly, YouTube has done that for me too. It's helped navigate me out of the darkest moments in my life. And I appreciate you guys. I don't take this community for granted whatsoever. You know, we're pushing 36,000 people, which is nuts. My daughter said that if someone knocked on the door and you answered it and you turned and when you opened the door, it was 36,000 people just looking at you. And I was like, I started sweating, like even thinking about it, like, well, and they all feel like what I have to say is important. It's crazy. All right. Hope this can help you guys. Um, Thank you for being here. What time is it over in Kuwait right now? And who is the other person in here? I know what time it is in Chicago. I'm Central too. Barcelona. What time is it in Barcelona and in Kuwait? And if you got a question, please feel free. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Say what you need to say. I'm here to answer it for you. 10:48. Okay. Oh, you using military time, so 8:48. All right. Appreciate you guys, and always remember, when you go and be loved, you'll never have to find it. God bless. Peace. Y'all like my sweater? I'm a elf fan. I'm a big Will Ferrell fan. See you guys later.